he proved everyone wrong.
Look, it's a fantastic result, and you can't argue that going forward they created havoc, they scored goals, you know, the pressure. The 2 own goals are just because of the pressure the Germans put on them. But unfortunately for Germany, they're not going to play against a team that stands back and lets them play, because that's pretty much what Portugal did. You know, it's one thing to get men behind the ball, but eventually somebody has to engage the ball. And Portugal, of all sides, a team that won the Euros by sitting tight, defending and counter-attacking, didn't defend. I mean, you saw the goals. There's like 8 and 9 Portuguese jerseys in the penalty box, and not one of them is anywhere close to a player or a man or the ball. I mean, you talk about an absolute embarrassing defensive display. Now, I always say it, you can only beat what's put in front of you, and my goodness, it didn't half go well. But I'll tell you what, they ain't going to play against many teams that just stand off them and let them pick passes and run around.
But they are going to play most teams like that, aren't they? Germany are going to have the majority possession no matter who they're up against, unless, for example, it's France. Most of them are going to sit back. So in that case, surely that system is going to work.
If a team sits back and doesn't face them up, then we'll find out. You're saying, well, it's France, but I would assume most teams are going to face the opposition up, unlike Portugal today, who stood off and let them pick passes and run around them and did absolutely nothing defensively. I'm not... It's a great performance, but I'll tell you what, you can't turn around right now and say, oh, Yogi was right, actually.
But you can, can't you, Nedum?
Well, you can.
Why not? They work.
Because they did what? The first time they were wrong.
No one had Germany winning this game. And they've just gone out and proved you wrong using the system that everybody told him to change.
Germany were favourites, by the way, with the bookies to win this game.
Well, just because the bookies got England as favourites, Stevie.
They had England as favourites.
Exactly.
They had.
Listen, we've had this system, we've had 2 games, and we've had completely opposite performances. One was completely rotten, and one was fantastic. So we need to hold our horses a little bit.
Do you think the one against France was rotten? Because at the end of the day, France only scored from an own goal. Well,
I'm going to steal somebody's quote. I don't remember who it was, but France pretty much only let Germany do what they wanted them to do. And I actually agree with that.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure. I think France reacted to the fact that they had a lead. You know, Germany themselves, I don't think they played that badly. They had some chances which they, could have taken, and to wind you up, I think they had their XG was higher than France's on that particular day.
Right, away from
on another day, maybe.
Don't bring that. Why are you doing that? Talking about this performance.
Yes.
It was excellent from Germany.
Yeah, it certainly was. It certainly was. And to be honest, for me as a player or an ex-player, I like the way that the manager stood by what he believed in.
Right.
Because ultimately, I think that's what's brought him success. I think if he relents and decides that I'm going to do whatever the media say, then you ask the question, what's the point in being there if you're essentially a puppet? So I think I like the way he did it. The players, they have bought into it. Obviously, you could maybe get more from someone like Kimmich, but they've just played against the European champions and they've dominated them. They've scored 4 goals. Obviously, 2 were on goals. And now they've got momentum going into the next game with a formation people doubted.
Big momentum.
I saw a strange game early on. I thought Germany were brilliant. They set the tone. And then what I saw then from Portugal was their analysts have looked at how Germany play when they go forward. And defensively, they've conceded 2 goals in exactly the same scenarios now, Germany, against France and against Portugal. And there's a weakness when Ginter's on that right-hand side and Kimmich is high up the pitch because he wants to be a forward-thinking wing-back. And that left side is a worry for Germany. And you can't be scoring 4 games in every single game. You can't be conceding 2 goals and having to score 3 and 4 every single game. But once they got past that first period and they scored, they got momentum, then they grew and they got confident. In the end, it was an unbelievable performance that I watched. But very early on, when they conceded, I thought, that's a little bit of a worry for me. So you turn in the sort of game. It's a little bit like when you watch Bayern at times. You see Bayern go and win the Champions League, and you see them in the final. You see them in the semis and the quarter. They play high-risk football. And any team at any given time, it seems like a contradiction of what I'm saying, but when you watch Bayern play, they're close to turn a game into 50-50, and they're a machine, and they rely on what they've got. But they do offer you lots of chances. I think Germany are the same. I think with that system, they can offer up a few chances. And Portugal got their goal, but then after that, they got Kimmich high up the pitch where he wants to be. Then they got Gosens, who's been brilliant this season at Atalanta, where he wants to be. And all of the front men in the midfield after that point, I thought was sensational for Germany.
Luis, we heard Stevie bring it up. The reason that Portugal come into this tournament as defending champions because they were so tight defensively, of course, 5 years ago. So good, so organised. How do they concede 4 today?
Yeah, I think that the Fonseca plan didn't work as I think he wanted. I think he was planning, to be very well organized at the back, to try to be very pragmatic when they got the ball and try to make good transitions forward. And they got the first goal, so they said, yeah, that's fantastic. But they forgot that the German team is a real threat. It's a drill that it tries and tries and tries. And I think the mistake comes because they thought that the German team always tried to go through the middle. They tried to bring ball, they tried to make those fantastic runs from Müller, from Gnabry, from Havertz, and they forgot the wide areas. And today, Gosens in the left side, I think it was a knife. Every single time he got the run, Semedo was too tight, too close to the centre back, so there was a lot of space. And Kimi exactly the same. So Müller was moving all around. So at the end, you got so many players floating that it's very difficult to control. And yeah, it's true that there were 2 own goals, but if they were not touched by a defender of Portugal, they were touched by players of German because they arrived. Havertz arrived, Gnabry arrived. There were players getting into the box. 2 non-strikers, like we all know, but yes, 2 players who can arrive from second line, arriving from near post, like Havertz scored in the second half as well. So at the end, the plan was defend well, but the wide areas to a German team like this one, you cannot let them that much space.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN+.